Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to football signing day for HBU. Just want to thank everybody for coming out as Coach Shealy is going to announce the 2016 signing class in a few minutes. We have copies of the bios for each of the student athletes that are available, and the full press release will be sent out via email following the press conference. Coach Shealy will be available for individual interviews when he finishes speaking. So without further ado, we're going to bring up head coach Vic Shealy to announce today's signing class.
Well, good afternoon. It's great to be here. And, I think we get to a point every year now on National Signing Date where I think we would all agree that we could just make this year's vote in elections, make this a national holiday. And it's gotten to be where the excitement around this day is becoming very infectious. And these are great moments as a football coach, but also anybody that loves the game, as so many do. We are grateful and excited about the group of young men that we have joining the HBU family. It is a great group of athletes, of students, and men of character. And we couldn't be more excited about the 12 guys that we're going to be able to share with you today, and to be able to share not only who they are, why we recruit them, but the impact that we feel like they'll make on this campus. I think that I'd like to try to begin first and acknowledge anytime we can. We have a great leader at this university, Dr. Robert Sloan, continues to do some phenomenal things in order to let football be an integral part of what we do here at HBU now. And I think without his leadership, certainly we would not be seeing the program grow the way it is. Second to that, though, our athletic director, Steve Maniaci, is truly a guy of great wisdom and leadership, but his ability to understand football and why it's so important that it thrive on a campus like HBU in all the different areas and ways that it affects the student body and the faculty, staff, alums, and whatnot. These are certainly great days where we begin to see effectively the leadership of this school be able to continue to make a mark that will last for decades around this place. I'd like to really acknowledge the group of guys that I get to work with every day. Our football staff here at HBU has worked tireless. The amount of the time, the sacrifices they make to be away from their families, to sit there and be driving back from faraway places in the middle of the night and then get up the next morning and do it all over again. To sit there and chase down some young men that have active lifestyles, and sometimes you kind of feel like you're always challenged to stay one step ahead of how an 18-year-old student athlete at a high school is thinking, and but the effort and the skill and the maturity and discipline that our guys continue to show as we recruit for a purpose in this program is something that I'm very, very grateful for. And then really there's a lot of individuals in this room and then also throughout this campus that day in and day out make football a reality for a lot of student athletes. When we begin, and we will start here in the next few weeks, we begin the process of identifying next year's recruiting class. And when you look at the bring of transcripts in, the ability to review and evaluate young men, the ability through admissions, through financial aid, just all the different departments on this campus that come along and support us, the academic support that once an athlete's here, to be able to see them be able to thrive and grow. We're excited because there's a lot of things that we feel like are happening on the football field where the gap is narrowing quickly with us in the top end of the conference. It perhaps never happens as fast as you want, but when you're building a house and you're trying to lay a foundation, the foundation that lasts is one that's built where brick by brick is done with permanence and it's done with a plan, and we feel very comfortable. Much of that goes with the recruiting process. Bringing in the right guys are a great fit. But once you get a guy here, you've got to be able to do things to help them be able to thrive and grow academically in your school. We're excited because we feel like we have shown in a short amount of time to be the premier football student athlete institution in the Southland Conference, and the achievement that our guys are showing in the classroom and how it's carrying over to be recognized. And then we feel like that's an integral part of our success. Today, as we get a chance to visit, I think it's really important to understand that when you look at a program, at some point in time, you do begin to reach your capacity in terms of the number of scholarships that the NCAA caps you with. And for the first time in our program, in really a very historical year, after previous classes where we have tried to sign every able-bodied that we felt like was a great fit here up to our limitation that the NCAA places on you annually, we are finally at a place where this year we will be at the NCAA maximum number of scholarships. For the first time in our program, we feel like it's apples to apples in terms of the number of kids in our program. And this class, while it's not as large in number, represents us pushing up now to the very limit that the NCAA allows. After having 3 previous classes that have brought in a lot of athletes, yesterday as coaches were on the field with about 85 athletes, it's amazing to see the growth and to be able to sit there and go back and look at the stories of each of them in recruiting. So today we look at the new stories. This class represents a group of young men that came in with a real specific niche. When you have fewer scholarships, it becomes very, very contested as to where you're going to commit that particular scholarship. Our goals this year is that we wanted to bring in and increase the maturity and the size and the strength of our offensive line. We felt like that's an area that typically in most programs, be it in high school, college, or in the NFL, it is the greatest challenge in the timeline of developing athletes to overcome. And so we feel like we've addressed that both in the quality of players, but also the size and the mass of our linemen. We feel like we brought in some players on defense that have improved our ability to run on defense. And that's the name of the game, and we're excited about those things. As we do kind of look here at some individual players here, I do want to try to emphasize that with each one of these guys, we felt like we had great numbers on our board. And what happens is when you have a lot of players on our board that comes by way of hard work, it gives you as a staff the ability to have and apply greater filters, be it character, be it academic fit, and then certainly the quality of athlete. In recruiting, you're going to lose some that you love to have. And when you do that, you want to make sure that the next guy on your board is one that is a similar quality in all those areas. And we feel like this year that this has been a very good group of athletes in the state of Texas, that the high school coaches in this state still remain to be the most talented coaches, wise guys that understand not only the game, how to treat their athletes well, to develop our athletes in helping recruiting. But for us, we feel like they become a great person to come along beside and be able to help in the recruiting process. We have been able to bring in a quarterback. Andreu Kirby is a young man out of John Paul II High School in Plano. Andreu was a young man that was at our football camp that we share with the University of Nebraska up in the Dallas area. Was a young man that I had a chance to watch throw in spring practice, was really admiring of his arm talent. He's a 6'4", 215-pound young man that's very, very athletic and can run. It gives you a dual-threat quarterback with size. And very, very bright. He's incredibly bright in the classroom. But when you look at his football IQ, it's just off the charts. He was in our camp, really, really impressed us. There were 2 quarterbacks there. They were head and shoulders over everybody else. One is signing with the University of Nebraska today, and the other one signed with HBU. And we're excited about Andreu in the days ahead with him in our program. The next athlete, and I'm going to kind of walk through them alphabetically, Josh Cockless. He's a tight end athlete out of Baytown Lee High School. When you kind of look at Josh, he's one of those rare guys that within our league that I think everybody in the Southline really identifies quickly. At 6'4", 225 pounds and very, very athletic, people only dream about what you'll do with those kind of guys. To have him on campus and walk around, it was amazing just how, when you looked at his stature, it creates an amazing dream about what that guy's going to look like. He's a dual sport athlete, a very fine basketball player there at Lee High School. He'll come in here, and obviously we're excited about the growth and the exciting things. He's a very, very athletic guy as a tight end, but he's done a lot of things on high school tape in a short amount of time that causes you to be impressed. A great family, student body president, top 10% in his class. He's just a tremendous, tremendous fit for HBU. Josh Jenkins, a cornerback out of Houston-Madison High School. One of the really interesting guys in the class. You usually don't find guys that are as athletic and dynamic in movement that are in that 6'1" to 6'2" range as a cornerback. That's just one of those hard finds. Well, what was tremendous is the last night probably scared us to death, but he got called by a Big 12 school and was offered a scholarship, and he chose to stay with his commitment to be at HBU. So those make for good moments as a coach, and I can tell you that just being able to relive that story a little bit with Coach Camp, who recruited him, we're grateful to have this young man in our house. You have a guy who's a very bright guy, a guy that comes from a great city tradition like Madison High School. It's our first athlete out of Madison High School, and we're excited about the days ahead of having Josh in our program. Andreu Kirby is a big offensive lineman out of Tyler Junior College. At high school, he prepped at Euless Trinity, which is certainly one of the most iconic schools in the nation. Andrew is a pretty good-sized guy, at about 6'4" and about 340-plus pounds, but really who's counting? He's a big mass guy. He's very, very strong, great feet. Was a guy that we feel very fortunate to get, as the recruiting effort on him was very, very competitive. We're fortunate, you talk about the relationships of recruiting. We have a couple players in our program that are very close friendships with him. And the experience that they are having at HBU and loving the place of HBU, and for those guys to be able to sit there and take a good friend who's looking at schools and say, this is a great place to go. And that's the story in recruiting Josh Kirby. And he has one class to finish up there at home, and he'll be here this summer. And as an offensive tackle that has that kind of mass, we are excited about the days ahead of having Andrew here on campus. Raistlin Lockhart is another offensive tackle guard out of Galveston Ball. Here again, a very traditional, great program in the state of Texas. And Grayson is another average-sized lineman at 6'7" and 360 pounds. And he is an enormous human being. Very, very athletic. I know that just this week, as Coach, or last week as Coach O'Daniel was by school watching him lift, and he was just kind of picking up like toothpicks, 100-pound dumbbells. It's kind of neat to be able to see the guys who just have that kind of core strength. Rayson's a really fine student. We really think that here again, we have done some things within our offensive line to be able to really build size and mass to that group. Sterling Savell is another offensive tackle, and you're getting a little bit of a blend here. You're getting some offensive linemen in this group here. Sterling is a beautiful athlete at 6'4", 266 pounds on his visit out of Mansville High School. Certainly a team that played a great game in this city in the state semifinals, and a great job at that school. Sterling is a great student. He has a great family, and he's a great fit. We would look for him to be one of those guys that coming out of high school that already has many of the size factor that you're looking for, but with great feet and great, he's been coached extremely well. We would expect him to be able to play early in our program. Langston Tonton is a linebacker out of Humboldt High School here in town, played for Charles West. And Langston is really a rare athlete. As a junior, he's one of the very best wrestlers in the state of Texas. He's a tough guy. But he plays the game the way that a linebacker ought to play. He's a true inside linebacker that can run from sideline to sideline. He's in the IB program there. Very, very, very bright individual, extremely high character. And I think that once again, being able to bring in the greater Houston athlete into our program, I think his football IQ, when you visit with him, you're amazed at how the game has already slowed down for him. And so we're grateful. He was a young man in our camp, and here again, it's just an opportunity to feel like you're getting to know guys. We have a long history now with me and these guys that go back well over a year of having worked with them. The next player I'd like to be able to recognize is Greg Vincent, another Greater Houston guy at Deer Park High School, played for Chris Massey. He's certainly one of the most iconic coaches in this state, and Deer Park being one of the great programs not in this city, in this state. Greg is a 6'2", 6'3", 265-pound defensive lineman that's dynamic. His quickness and his ability at the snap of the football to play fast and powerful is impressive. He's a phenomenal weight room guy. He's a top 10% academic guy in his class, 4-point plus GPA, just a very, very bright guy. And what's kind of interesting here is you have a young man that was the ambition of our conference schools to recruit Greg Vincent, and he sat there and said, "I want to stay at home in Houston." And so I think this is one that in the days ahead, Houston's going to be proud to have one of its own here at HBU, as we are. Andre Walker is a defensive end out of New Orleans. He went to Brother Martin High School, really a fine parochial school over there. Pre-med major. Here again, he's in that elite group of academic young men there in the top 10% of his class. He has truly, I think, separated himself from most high school guys in terms of the speed and how dynamic of a pass rusher he is. He was in our camp. You know, for a young man to come 5.5 hours from New Orleans to come over here to our camp in the middle of June to work out for this staff so that he could impress somebody. And he left there as the most talented defensive end in our camp. And to have the University of Colorado, who shares that camp with us, sit there and to be able to watch them work him out extensively because he shows up in camp that well. We offered him very early. We got a really nice commitment back a few weeks ago, and we're excited. Once again, it's a young man that's got a long history with us in this program, and I really commend Coach Camp has given us an opportunity to sign some players out of New Orleans for the first time in our program. And the second one this year is Marlon Wilkins. He's a defensive back out of Thomas Jefferson High School. It's a charter school there in the city. It's a school of incredible academic integrity. And Marlon is a wonderful fit here again as a student athlete into our program. Marlon may have been our first commit. He was a guy that we were amazed at just how light and athletic he moves on tape. He's got a great family, great personality, and he might run for president one day, and I might vote for him because he's just one of those rare personalities. We have two mid-years I want to kind of acknowledge. As I said, we were trying to bring in offensive linemen, and if we could bring in a JC guy that gave us both the maturity and the age, we want to get that done. Jonathan Aguilar is an offensive center. He played high school ball out of Roosevelt High School in Lubbock and then at Tyler Junior College, and was a tremendous player there at Tyler. He's a 6'1", 290-pound strong guy. We've got some strong guys in our program, but I think we brought in a guy that everybody else is going to probably chase in that weight room for, for future years to be compared to whether you're a strong guy. So he comes in with some qualities that we feel will make an impact. Because he is on campus right now, we get the benefit of him here in spring practice, and that's a great advantage. He's a leader, and he's got a lot of qualities, tremendous student, and we're excited about Jonathan being here. And then the last guy that I want to acknowledge, probably one of the little more interesting recruiting stories, Buddy Tumasanga. I think I got it pretty close. Buddy is truly one of the most beautiful individuals that I had the joy of recruiting. He's from Samana High School in Pango Pango, American Samoa. Came through Tyler Community College. He's a 6'5", 260-pound tight end that is as athletic. And when y'all get a chance to watch here later today, all these young men's highlight tape on our webpage, you'll marvel at a guy this big in size can run as athletic he is. He's a beautiful guy. Committed to us back in December on his visit, held that commitment, and then the previous coaching staff at Texas State brought him in. He committed to Texas State, got over there and through some of the coaching change, realized that this was the right spot for him, and we were able to and to the thanks of the coaches at Texas State, they released him from the national letter, and we were able to get him in school there in the nick of time, and he is here, and he's just a tremendous, beautiful fit in this program. And we have several Polynesian guys in our program, and I think that we may be having us a luau here many days ahead on signing date because we would like to sit there and continue to bring in the Polynesian athlete, not only for who they are as great athletes, but also the qualities they bring in as men and as individuals. That's our class, and we're excited. We feel like we've got guys that address the needs of our program, that in the days ahead that you're going to see the great growth in this program continue, and we're excited about the 2016 football season. And with that, Russ, if you want to take questions individually or corporately, however you want to do it, I'll turn it over to you.